Welcome back, scholars, to our Digital Academy. I am Professor Spark. Whether we are turning the pages of a timeless novel, our mission remains the same. Will today's sweep us into the concert hall? Let's find out together.
Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we've got a truly incredible journey ahead of us today. We're going to unpack a 700-year-old masterpiece that is universally recognized as one of the greatest works ever written, the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. But listen, we aren't just going to look at this as some dusty medieval poem. We're going to explore it as a brilliant, spatial map that charts the ultimate human journey, literally going from absolute rock bottom all the way to finding ultimate meaning and truth.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself completely lost in life? I mean, it's a very modern question, isn't it? But this is exactly how Dante's 14th century epic begins. This classic text is, at its core, a deeply relatable story about hitting a personal crisis. It's kind of like an allegory for every single human life. The beauty of what we're looking at today is how Dante brilliantly bridges his medieval world with the exact same struggles we still face in the 21st century.
So here's our map of the afterlife for today. 1. Lost in the dark wood. 2. Inferno, descending into hell. 3. Purgatorio, the hopeful climb. 4. Paradiso, the celestial spheres. And 5. Why Dante still matters.
All right, Section 1, Lost in the Dark Wood. This is where the epic begins, exactly where so many of us find ourselves during difficult times, feeling completely stuck.
35. Now, back in medieval times, 35 was considered the exact midpoint of a human life. And this is exactly the age Dante is when his journey kicks off. He actually wrote this work after being politically exiled from his beloved city of Florence, and he was suffering immense personal loss. So he finds himself lost in a dark forest. But this forest isn't just a physical place, right? It's a universal symbol for moral failure, spiritual confusion, and profound depression. It's that terrifying uncertainty of human existence when you realize, wow, I've completely lost my moral direction.
Now, as Dante desperately tries to escape this dark forest, his path gets blocked by 3 wild beasts, which actually represent specific psychological and moral roadblocks. You've got the leopard, which stands in for fraud and temptation. You've got the lion, representing pride and violence, and then the she-wolf, which embodies greed and uncontrolled desire. These aren't just literal animals, they are deep-seated earthly sins preventing Dante from escaping his crisis on his own. He is totally stuck, and he needs help, badly.
Unable to proceed, Dante is rescued by 2 ultimate guides who are going to shape his entire journey. On one side, we have the ancient Roman poet Virgil. He represents human reason, philosophy, and classical wisdom. Virgil is the guy who can guide moral choices and help Dante actually recognize evil. But, reason alone cannot attain salvation, and that's where Beatrice comes in. Representing divine grace, faith, and God's love, she shows that faith completes what reason begins. Virgil uses reason to help Dante understand his sins, sure, but it's absolutely crucial to have the divine faith of Beatrice to complete his journey toward ultimate truth.
Okay, Section 2, Inferno, descending into hell. Guided by Virgil, we are heading down into the 9 circles of hell, which is really about the painful but necessary process of recognizing toxic behavior.
The absolute most important thing to grasp in the Inferno is this concept called contrapasso. It's a principle of justice where the punishment perfectly reflects the nature of the earthly sin. It is literally the ultimate expression of you reap what you sow. Dante's vision of justice isn't just random or arbitrary, not at all. It reveals that his universe is governed by the logical consequences of our own free will. You aren't condemned by fate here, you are condemned by your own repeated choices. The punishments themselves are just incredible narrative ironies. For example, fortune tellers, people who tried to see too far ahead in life, now have their heads literally twisted backward so they can only see behind them. Sowers of discord, who divided people on earth, are themselves repeatedly torn apart. Hypocrites wear these beautiful, shining cloaks, but they're secretly lined with crushing, heavy lead. And even in the very first circle, limbo, virtuous non-Christians like Socrates and Homer aren't physically tortured, but they suffer the natural consequence of living without the vision of God. The punishment always fits the crime perfectly as we descend through increasingly serious sins.
Then, at the very bottom, in the 9th circle, we reach the ultimate sinners, the traitors. But get this, hell isn't some fiery pit down here. Actually, scratch that. It is the exact opposite. It's a claustrophobic, freezing lake of ice. Satan is trapped waist-deep in this ice with his 3 mouths eternally chewing history's greatest traitors, Judas Iscariot, Brutus, and Cassius. What's so vital to understand here is that Satan isn't the ruler of hell, sitting on a fiery throne calling the shots. Because of his own treachery, he's actually hell's greatest, most paralyzed prisoner.
Moving right along to Section 3, Purgatorio, the hopeful climb. Having hit the absolute bottom of the universe, the only way left to go is up. Now, the suffering in purgatory is completely different from hell, and it all comes down to one single word: willingness. These souls willingly endure purification across 7 terraces that correspond to the 7 deadly sins. And why do they do it? Because they know heaven awaits. Their suffering is actually productive. For example, the proud carry enormous heavy stones, physically bowing them over until they learn humility. The envious have their eyes sewn shut until they learn compassion. They are actively transforming their disciplined pain into virtue, which allows them to eventually ascend.
Which brings us to Section 4, Paradiso, the celestial spheres. Once purification is complete, Virgil, human reason, can't go any further. It's time for Beatrice to take over.
So, paradise is structured around 9 celestial spheres, based on medieval cosmology. In each sphere, Dante encounters souls that exemplify different virtues. As he ascends higher and higher, this beautiful transformation happens. His knowledge steadily increases, and his capacity for love constantly expands. You see, in Dante's worldview, sin is simply disordered love, while virtue is rightly ordered love. So his ascent through these spheres represents the absolute perfection of rightly ordered love and the ultimate pursuit of spiritual and moral wisdom. Human understanding is finally actually approaching divine truth.
And this brings us to the breathtaking culmination of the whole journey, the Empyrean. This is a realm completely beyond physical space and time. Here, Dante experiences what is known as the beatific vision. It is a direct, unfiltered encounter with God. Think about it. After wandering completely lost in that dark, chaotic forest, Dante finally sees the entire universe, all of creation, perfectly united through divine harmony. It's the ultimate moment of clarity.
Finally, Section 5, Why Dante Still Matters. We've traveled from hell to heaven, but let's talk about what this means for us today.
To really appreciate the genius of this work, we have to look at Dante's absolute obsession with the number 3, echoing the Christian Trinity. Just look at the structural symmetry here. There are 3 realms of the afterlife. Dante has 3 guides: Virgil, Beatrice, and ultimately Saint Bernard. He faces 3 beasts in the dark wood. The poem itself is written in 3-line stanzas called terza rima. Even Satan has 3 faces. This mathematical symmetry provides a subliminal blueprint to the entire epic. It constantly reinforces the idea of a universe ordered by profound harmony rather than random chaos.
But the true narrative of the poem isn't just about some imagined afterlife, you know? It's about taking moral responsibility for our lives right now. It maps out human life as a universal pattern from confusion to wisdom. It champions free will, reminding us that no one is condemned by fate. We literally become what we repeatedly choose. It teaches that ordered love is the organizing principle of everything good, while distorted love creates our own personal hells. And it outlines a universe of justice, built on the inescapable consequences of the choices we are making today.
I want to conclude our explainer today with this absolutely breathtaking final line of the poem. After witnessing the entirety of the cosmos, Dante writes, "The love that moved the sun and the other stars." It is such a profound, provocative reminder of the universal force that Dante believed connects every single one of us. It asks us to consider a really big question. What is the driving force in your own life? Are your choices leading you deeper into the dark wood, or are they guiding you upward toward the light? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.